Once a year in the middle of November, Necromunda players gather in northwest Wisconsin. They bring their latest Ash Wastes gangs to face off in a 3-day campaign event. The Ash Wastes Weekend. Should these gamers bring dice and a tape measure? Well, what about salted seaweed or overalls? Find out this time on JD in the Sump Sea. Welcome back to JD in the Sump Sea. I'm Jay, and today we're talking about what you should bring to the Ash Wastes Weekend, what to expect at the Ash Wastes Weekend, and what things have changed since my last video on the Ash Wastes Weekend, which you can watch here. And if you like learning about Necromunda events, then make sure you bust out your Warhammer and smash that like button, smash that subscribe button, don't forget that bell icon so you don't miss any of our videos. Now, back to the Ash Wastes Weekend 2025. Alright, so today I want to talk a little bit about what to bring, what to expect, and what has changed since my last video. So, let's start off with what to bring. Make sure you bring your basic gaming supplies that you would use for a game of Necromunda. Make sure you bring your tape measure. Now there'd probably be extra tape measures there that people can borrow if they forget, but try and remember to bring yours so you don't have to do that. Don't forget to bring your Necromunda dice, and also your tokens. Don't forget to bring your miniatures. It'd be a real shame if the gang that you worked on for so long never made the trip. Don't forget to bring your tactics cards. If you have tactics cards, great. If not, you can always write them down. Then refer to the main rulebook or your House of book with their rules. Your gang cards. If you use Yak Tribe or Gyrinx app, you can print these out. Otherwise, try to use the blank cards that come in the box sets or in tactics card boxes. Or make your own from scratch. Just make sure you can get to your gang stats quickly. Don't forget to bring your gang roster. This is essential for keeping track of your gang's territories, rep, stash, and gang rating, as well as keeping track of who is in recovery or not. A display board, and we'll talk about this in a few minutes. The rules for your gang and the Necromunda rulebook. Whatever rules you need to play your gang, make sure you have them. Not everyone is familiar with all the various PDFs and books out there, so make sure you have them so that if you or your opponent need to look something up, you can. Don't forget to bring pencils and pens to write things down, and probably a notebook to write them down in as well. I like to take a lot of notes when I play games, and it can come in very handy in the post-battle sequence, and if you ever want to write any fluff about your gang. Don't forget to bring glue, accelerant for superglue, a hobby knife, cutters, green stuff, paints, all sorts of things that you use to hobby that you might want to have with you in case a model breaks or in case you need to paint a new model. Last year, I sat down with an unpainted model that I brought that I had simply base coated with spray paint, painted that entire model up on Friday night so I could play with it on Saturday. There'll be room to do that if you want to. Don't forget to bring extra minis to paint, because this is a campaign in a weekend. Your gang will be able to recruit new fighters, especially during downtime, so bring extra models that you want to try and recruit at some point during the campaign. Don't forget to bring a copy of the Ash Wastes Weekend Player's Guide, the Territories PDF, and the Rackets PDF as well. I will also have links in the description of this video to all three of those packets, and the Territories packet has been updated since my last video, so make sure you take a look at that. I've had to add several territories because of the larger amount of people that are now playing compared to when the first video was made. So let's talk a bit about display boards. Here are the 3 display boards and gangs that I brought to the first 3 Ash Wastes weekends. The first gang is an outcast gang led by a Goliath leader. I've themed this gang around Mad Max, and that each fighter's name is a name from one of the Mad Max movies. I added large speakers to the back of this huge custom vehicle in homage to the doof wagon from Fury Road. The display board highlights the fact that they're speeding across the wastes in their vehicles and bikes. I added a hill and a couple of tall rock formations. The hill has a little door in the side of it that's to represent the entrance to their lair. The second display and gang is another outcast gang, this time led by Enoch, a disgraced Caudor. He has gone out into the Ash Wastes and recruited this gang using mind manipulation psychic powers similar to Cybok from Star Trek V. I decided to make 3 light vehicles for this gang instead of 1 large vehicle like the year before. This display board is basically a small encampment, which is where Enoch found his first in command in my story about the gang. And this final gang from last year is a Cawdor gang, led by Ballas the Wretched. He was the right-hand man of Enoch from the year before, who had left him, and now he wants revenge for the betrayal. He leads a gang full of walkers. I made one huge two-legged walker based off an AT-ST model from Star Wars and gave it a transport capacity. This is not normally permitted, but I asked the arbitrator and they were fine with it. The display board was built with the idea that they were leaving a gate in Hive Primus and just beginning their journey out into the Ash Waste to find their former master, Enoch. Now, when attending a weekend-long campaign, you're going to earn extra credits and you're going to earn reputation, and you'll be able to go to the trading post between each game and you'll be able to purchase new items and recruit new fighters. So make sure that you have extra models on hand that you want to recruit during the weekend. Try and have an upgrade path or plan as well as to what you want to buy and when as the weekend progresses. In the first year I did this, I had a couple of vehicles with magnetized weapons. So they were also las cannons, so they cost a decent amount of credits. So I figured hopefully by downtime I'd have the credits, provided the vehicles were still alive, to be able to purchase those las cannon upgrades. In year 2 that I played at the Ash Waste weekend, I brought a bunch of extra gangers that I could recruit as the campaign went on. I had a tactics card as an outcast player that allows you D3 plus 2 extra models in your gang for one game. And I was able to use that in the first part of the campaign, and then in the second half of the campaign, after downtime, I simply spent the 250 credits to then recruit those 5 fighters, and I joined them into the gang as a permanent addition. And last year, I brought several extra gangers, a specialist, an extra champion, and a whole nother tracked vehicle, and I decided that if I could, I would then be able to purchase them during the downtime with my 250 credits, and sure enough, I was able to, and I played with at least some of them in the second half of the campaign. So these are just examples of what you should do when you're building your gang for the Ash Waste weekend. You also may want to plan on what territories and what rackets you want to go for, and what environments you want to play in during the weekend as well. So if you want to play a lot of Ash Waste games, make sure you have a lot of vehicles that you can use in those games and mounts. Also, think about the triumphs that exist and which ones you want to go for. And you also be flexible and realize that, hey, after maybe the first 2 games, if you lose both of those games, you're probably not going to win highest winning percentage. So just think about that and be able to pivot quickly to a different objective. And I tried to have a lot of triumphs in there, so there's a lot of different options and opportunities for players to pick the path they want to go to during the weekend. Other things that you should bring as well include a comfortable pair of shoes and maybe a pair of slippers. We'll be playing in a hotel with carpeting, but it's still quite a lot of standing during the weekend, so comfortable footwear is very important. I usually bring 2 pairs of shoes and a pair of slippers. Snacks for sharing or not. Bringing any type of food or drink is totally up to you. Every year people do bring things like chips and cookies and bottled water and soda and beer, but it's never required of anyone. And you don't have to share either. If you want it for yourself, bring it for yourself, that's fine. But there's no requirement to do that. We do have a common room where my table will be set up, along with where the fighting pits and a couple of other small tables will be to play on. The projector with the current campaign stats will be there, and there'll be a TV to watch fun movies and some other tables and chairs to hang out, and long tables full of snacks. A positive attitude and a sense of fair play. Make sure you come to the Ash Waste weekend looking to have fun, and you will have fun. Let's move on to what you should expect. When you attend the Ash Waste weekend, you'll want to make sure you arrive at the hotel on Friday by 1 p.m. I'll have a quick form you can fill out with your name, your gang's name, and every Ash Waste weekend begins with an introduction by the arbitrator, this year that would be me, and by Joe, the guy who has made all of this possible. Then, since I'm the arbitrator, I'll go over how the weekend will play out. I've already discussed the campaign structure in my previous video, which you can watch here. Before each game, we'll meet in the common room and pairings will be made. Make sure after each game that you and your opponent fill out the results card and hand them in to me. You and your opponent will be expected to solve rules issues at your table between the two of you. You could ask other players around you about rules questions as well, but just know there won't be a judge for every table or even every 5 tables. It's basically me, and then Joe might be able to help you out, Dale could help you out, but really lean on your opponent and lean on your fellow gamers nearby to answer rules questions. And if you just can't come to a conclusion, can't decide on an answer for something, just dice off. Each roll a d6, whoever rolls highest, that's the way you go with it. Because sometimes with miniature games like this, you just have to go with that route because weird things will pop up. During downtime, I will also have a roster I will expect you to fill out telling me where you're at after the downtime. So I have your gang rating, your reputation, etc. Make sure, again, you put that on my table in the common room once you fill that out. Some territories and some rackets will actually grant you special models. And these models are going to be made and painted by myself, and you'll be able to use them during the campaign. If you lose that territory or racket during a campaign, you're expected to give that model to the opponent you lost it to. Then, at the very end of the campaign, if you have any of those models that are still in your control at the end of the campaign, you get to keep those. Those you can just bring home. So you may be able to end up at the end of the weekend with a rogue doc. So let's talk about some additional rules, additional information about the campaign. So there's a couple of rules we've decided on since the last video. We're playing with house agents. Those are allowed. However, house favors are not used. And the reason they're not used is because with house favors, you need to know the gang rating of all the other gangs. And we're simply not doing that. That's too much work in the campaign of 34-ish people. We're also not playing with allies. Now, of course, this rule could get broken if you are outnumbered by somebody in a game by a lot. I might ally with you for that one game, a certain amount of, some sort of ally, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Otherwise, as a general rule, we're not doing allies. The trading post. The only trading post you can use is the stuff from the 2023 core rulebook. Any other trading posts or options from any other trading posts or PDFs are not allowed unless there's a rule that lets you use them in this campaign, which there are several. Alignment. Make sure you are either a lawful gang or an outlaw gang. And that affects the trading post rarities. So if you're an outlaw gang and you try and get a rare item that's not an outlaw item, it's at a -2. If you're a law-abiding one and you're trying to get an illegal item, that's at a -2. So it's more difficult for you to get the item of the opposite alignment than your gang is. So keep that in mind. Also, certain hangers-on will only ally themselves with lawful or outlaw gangs. Malstrain and Malstrain corrupted gangs are not allowed in this campaign, mainly because it doesn't make a lot of sense. They only exist within Hive Secundus. They have not ventured outside of Hive Secundus yet, and we're not playing in Hive Secundus, so they aren't allowed. Spires and Spire-led gangs, as per the Book of Desolation, can be taken. Also, there is a special rule that we've come up with at the Ash Waste Weekend to encourage you to use mounted fighters. So a mount is 50 credits, and any fighter can take a mount for 50 credits. That gives you the mounted condition, so look that up in the core rulebook. Now, normally, if you buy a mount for a fighter, you have to stay on that mount forever. You can never get off the mount. We've decided to add a mount/dismount basic action to the rules. And this allows you to, during a game, dismount from that mount and walk along on foot instead. And then you can remount that vehicle, or that mount, I should say, later on in the game if you so choose. Another option is you can start a game dismounted, or you can start a game mounted, and that's up to you. So if you can still play with that model inside the Underhive, provided you begin the game in the Underhive dismounted. So what does that mean? Well, that means that you're going to have 2 models if you choose to play with this rule. One model will be the ganger that is mounted, whether that's on a bike or on some big, on a horse or an insect or something. And then you're going to have a second model that represents that same character, simply dismounted, not on that vehicle. And not on that mount, I mean. And this means that you can use mounted prospects that exist in the game and start them dismounted, provided you have a model to represent them dismounted. Throughout this month, I'll be releasing videos showcasing the progress I'm making on building these models that you'll be able to take home with you, and some new terrain as well. The idea of around this weekend is to allow everybody to have fun, to forge their own story, their own narrative, and that's the most important part. I want you to go to Ash Waste Weekend with the intention and the mindset of, this is going to be fun. I'm going to meet new people. I'm going to play some Necromunda. It's going to be a great time. I really want all of you that attend this event to have a great time, and that's really the bottom line. And don't worry, if you want to attend, but you haven't signed up yet, go to the website, ashwasteweekend.com, and sign up. Right now we are at our cap, our limit, but we already had one person drop out, another person jump in their spot. So we do have a waiting list. You can apply online and jump on that waiting list right away, and then we'll get back to you and let you know if anybody drops out. Next year, we do intend on expanding to a larger location, so we will have more room next time. Just make sure, if you want to know more about next year or this year again, check out ashwasteweekend.com. But that's all I've got for you this time. Thanks for watching, and as always, please like and subscribe.